Who would have imagined that behind laughter, dancing, and celebration, a tragedy was unfolding? This is the story of a friendship shattered by ambition, debt, and death. The King of Meiggs, once beloved, was murdered. And today, the cameras no longer celebrate, they accuse. Who would have imagined that these festive images of dances and laughter hid a dark outcome? This record is key. One of the protagonists of the animated video is going to leave an envelope with millions of pesos in his friend's building. But the intentions apparently were not good. We understand that it's him, right? With this jacket, this parka. He's recognized by one of those who clapped dancing and left the money. Wilson Verdugo Diaz, who now in a red, blue, and white jacket leaves handcuffed from the 3rd police station in Santiago heading to courts, formalized for possession of ammunition and qualified homicide of the person to whom he delivered the envelope and with whom he precisely shared in the video. Felipe Reyes Ossa, nicknamed El Rey de Meiggs. On the right side of the room lies the accused, charged as the intellectual author of the murder of his supposed friend Felipe Reyes, which 3 Venezuelan hitmen carried out, one of them a fugitive from justice, due to a widely publicized judicial error. But before hearing the court's decision, we investigate a little more about the accused. Who is this character who until now had not appeared in the scandalous plot of the hitman who fled the country? Congratulations! It's your turn, Wilson. It's your turn. It's your turn. Or not. It's not. No, buddy. It's the greatest joy of his life. I tell my father. This is a dream, right? Wilson Verdugo Diaz is a Chilean businessman, a horse racing enthusiast. Some years ago, he celebrated the victory of his horse Rakuten and posed smiling for the flashes next to his striped shirt. His friend, the King of Meiggs. It's a great horse when it runs Group 3, one Group 1 races. We've always had it. Now it's time to take advantage of the very good trial for the brown one. We're going to win everything with this. Pulson, what you always looked for is that tasty little cow for so long. Tell us what's going through your head right now. Nothing, an enormous unity. Imagine us, a big one to have horses of this magnitude, what a great effort, and we do it with a lot, but on top of that, when things turn out to achieve a triumph like that, it is comforting and makes you want to go forward. He not only celebrates with races thanks to Rakuten, he is also recognized in the gastronomic field, where he owns 3 butcher shops and 2 restaurants, among them La Vaquita Sabrosa, a place where he has also posed for the cameras alongside figures like Arturo Vidal and Hollywood stars like Kenny Reeves. However, today the cameras do not portray him for his celebrations or renowned guests at his establishments, but for being accused of murdering the King of Meiggs. What was the relationship between them? Was there really a friendship, or was all connection strictly commercial? Who called him Daddy? Imagine with that affection Felipe loved Don Wilson. No, Daddy, relax. I'll wait days. I'll wait a week. Relax here and there. So, there was a very fraternal relationship between them besides the money issue. It's very, very fraternal. It's something horrible, and it was something very close. He knew everything, all the movements, because Felipe loved him very much and he spoke of him as Daddy. Daddy Wilson. Daddy Wilson. Dear friend, and how many years has this friendship been going on? I think about years ago, more or less. A friendship of more than years reflected with images on social networks that demonstrate it. However, this bond between them slowly faded. José Felipe Reyes had lent Wilson more than 1 billion pesos and still owed him a large sum of money, a detail that, along with the following record, points to him as the 4th person involved in the murder of the King of Meiggs. Quiriga Street, Nunoa Commune, June in the morning. Wilson Verdugo is seen leaving an envelope containing millions of pesos, part of the money owed to José Reyes. Then he is seen leaving the building in the sector where a few minutes later the moneylender would be murdered. He was paying weekly every Friday. No, he came on Thursday to pay. Why? So that everything would be clear. Right. To say he was paying him, basically. Right. He went to pay him so they wouldn't suspect him. So, he went to pay him a payment and then sent him to be killed, knowing that the assassination plan was already underway, essentially. So, they won't suspect me because I paid him that same day. I wanted to ask you, and it wasn't the payment, those were the interests that he himself agreed to. Interest, right? You didn't reach the absolute balance. It's about millions of pesos that Verdugo promised to pay 3 Venezuelan hitmen to murder the King of Meiggs. One of them, John de Blanco, stated in the hearing that the accused was the last to call the King of Meiggs. Shortly before his death, one of the victim's relatives gave more details with their face covered for fear of retaliation. As a family for a moment, yes, because he was the only one who owed him a lot of money, and this was a wheel, so they don't say that he had, the money and gave it to him from one day to the next. No, this comes from long before the pandemic. So I want that to be clear, that it was first, and it kept adding up, and this guy kept asking him, and since he considered him so much that he called him my daddy, my this, everything, he sat at the table with the girls, with thousands of, there's always, as a family, you never expect this to happen. So, the only thing I truly ask is that justice be done for the victim and for the daughters he left behind, and that this man pays, and that he pays with the maximum penalty. Only that. Such is Wilson Verdugo's audacity, in case he is guilty, that he even attended the funeral of the person who was supposedly his friend, as seen in the following images. Through all the investigations, another person who came forward to testify after the death of the merchant was the well-known communicator Francisco Kaminsky, who knew the King of Meiggs. Images that show him next to Reyes and also next to Verdugo, a bond that their partners also knew at some point, and in a certain way we had a good relationship. I even felt that when I went through my toughest period, when I had the separation issue, he was super good to me, he was very concerned. So, he was your friend. And yes, I felt a lot of affection for him, and he also felt a lot of affection for me. And in fact, I'm still super affected by what happened, because I did jobs with Felipe, right? No, it's not that I asked him for money, I did jobs with Felipe where he obviously, like other partners, also contribute as capital for certain events, things like that. Then it's returned, but it's never had a negotiation as a lender. It wasn't like we dedicated ourselves to doing business as always, He tells me about a fonda in La Florida. I don't know if it's a project, I'm a producer. No, it has nothing to do with it. I produce a fonda, but for someone else, and it has nothing to do with it. As I told you, that's why it's good to clarify a little, and I have no problem answering everything. He denies any type of relationship with the loan of money. A close relative of the victim assured that the host at least owed him about millions of pesos. I'm going to ask you about Francisco Kaminsky. Did you know him? Did he have a commercial relationship with your relative? Did he ask him for money or not? To your relative, the King of Meiggs? Yes, he had a commercial relationship with Felipe, and he owed Felipe money. Look, I honestly don't know if he owed him money, but now he was in a business that was set up and ready. Okay. Well, a business of what? The fonda one. Oh, but how? Because Francisco Kaminsky said here that he does a fonda every year for another person? For another person, Felipe has nothing to do with it, that's not real. This year, the one who put up the money for the fonda is Felipe. While the investigations continue with surprising characters involved, Verdugo will have to go to prison. The court's resolution was preventive detention for days, while the investigation lasts. The court agreed with the public ministry on the imputative thesis that we presented as the prosecution, in which we believe there is participation as the perpetrator by the accused. For that reason, the court ordered the preventive detention of the accused, establishing a period of days from the previous formalization. In that sense, we maintain our position in order to establish that one of the motives, as stated in the hearing, for us regarding the crime committed is the debt owed by the accused. A judicial case that continues an unexpected development. From the erratic release of a hitman to the arrest of a well-known gastronomic businessman and his ties to national show business. The investigations into the death of the King of Meiggs are still far from over. Justice moves forward, but the questions remain. Was it friendship or strategy? Celebration or cover-up? As the case unfolds, one truth stands. Money may buy silence, but it cannot erase memory.